because of the video with Elvis and because I'm just the right guy to do these types of videos, right? I'm going to start doing this series, maybe make an official like series out of it. I think if I was going to do that, I would only do it for specific like culture vultures. I'm thinking of what I'm going to do is like specific people I feel as culture vultures, do whole videos on them and why. You know what I'm saying? Maybe do some on people who are being accused of being culture vultures, like what I did with Elvis. And regardless of how I feel about them, be honest about the factors, adding them up and explain. Because I'm lucky with that Elvis shit because my pops was around in the 50s. I know, like, I have people I could talk to who know exactly firsthand what it was like back then. I know history as well. So it's like, I knew what they were saying. I get why y'all was saying it, but if I didn't come in and say, no, that's wrong, you can't just be throwing that shit on everything. See, because I'm white, right? I'm gonna do the because I'm black thing, but because I'm white, right? And I have a lot of black friends, when there's shit that's like against white people now, who like are obviously like, maybe like even with Elvis, I said, yeah, he was probably a fucking racist. You know, Quincy Jones felt so, you know, and, but he wasn't a culture vulture, you know, because I'm a half native, half white. I feel the need to when something wrong, when they get something wrong and they saying something that's wrong, like about someone who white, like, even though the white man did terrible shit to my native ancestors and shit, right? And I'm half white as a byproduct of that genocide, I'm still half white. And at the same time, I hate racism. And when you start just saying shit about white people, that's still racist. Because I have such a good relationship with the black community, I feel like it's my place when there's white folks who are being accused of racist shit. That's my lane to speak on because half of me is white. And when you fighting monsters, you want to make sure you don't become the monsters you're trying to fight. You don't want to become racist towards white people because then you're no better than the white people who was racist towards y'all. I felt the need to do that video on Elvis, right? So now I'm thinking I'm going to do this whole series where every episode I just take a different person who's been accused of being a culture vulture and weigh it out whether they really are or really aren't, right? Pause. I need a light. So the next episode, this episode right here is going to be about Kid Rock. Is Kid Rock a culture vulture? Absolutely. It's not just because he came into rapping and he was really not from Detroit and he was a rich kid from, you know, grew up like way nicer than me. And then probably grew up nicer than a lot of kids who like I consider grew up like with money and shit. You know what I'm saying? I had kids that I would be like, damn, your pops bought you a fucking Benz for your 16th birthday. And that shit brand new? That's the one that's not even out yet? And they total that shit a month later and get a Lexus. Kid Rock probably grew up richer than them kids. Like when my pops got a little bit of chicken and he moved near the golf course and I seen how them kids was living, bro, like, I was like, damn, y'all got chicken, bro. Like, my pops had chicken, but he made very clear from the moment I was born, this is my money, not yours. Kid Rock grew up nice as fuck. Like, as far as his pops, if I remember right, owned hella car dealerships. Hella car dealerships. If I remember right, he from Romeo, Michigan, right? And they ain't like Pontiac. They ain't like none of that. They ain't like Cadillac or nothing like. That is a very upscale area. That's like a Bloomfield or a Milford or a fucking Grosse Pointe. Like that's an upscale area. And so like it's like a Eaton Rapids. That's like nicer than a Jackson or an Albion. Like that's nice. That's a little nicer than Kalamazoo. You know what I'm saying? That's like way nicer than Jackson and even Battle Creek. So it's like, he would go out to the hood and like, that's not a problem, right? I never looked at that as a problem because essentially when I was in college, even though I was living in the hood for like days on end, like weeks on end sometimes, I was basically working in the hood with, you know what I'm saying, the motherfuckers in the trap. You know, I was doing robberies and shit. Like, even though I was still I still could always go to my parents' house. So I can't hate on nobody just for that. You see what I'm saying? Like, granted, even though Kid Rock grew up getting handed way more shit than me, bro. I wish I had the type of, like, studio he had before he got on, bro. And that was the 90s. So what was a $10,000 home studio back then? It's like a $20,000 or $30,000 home studio now, at least. I'm fucking my words up. I gotta drink something real quick. But the part that made Kid Rock, I'm sorry, Chris Rock, for every time I say your name on accident, you're not a culture vulture at all. What made Kid Rock a culture vulture is that it's not even the fact that he moved on to country music, right? He moved on to country music, started saying F BLM, all this other shit. Listen, as an organization, I don't agree with BLM entirely. I don't agree with that nuclear family shit because that's the whole thing that's been fucking this community up, in my opinion. You know, from the outside, not even the outside looking in. It's like the inside looking in, but I'm not black. I don't remember Kid Rock said anything about George Floyd. I feel like he did for some reason. But this is why BLM as an idea, I can never say that's not valid. As an idea, right? That Black Lives Matter. I can never invalidate that because I've seen how black people is targeted. You know what I'm saying? I've seen when my boy who's black, Rory, and I talked about this in the other video, said, damn, the police treat you like you blacker than me when they pull us over. The fact that he said that, that's why Black Lives Matter. Like, I understand how it goes different when, put it like this, before I was in the system the way I was, right? The way I am now. The difference between me and one white boy, just me and one black person, I seen the difference how they would pose over just based off me being with them. You know what I'm saying? So, as an idea, yeah, I can't never hate on that. Plus, it's me, so how the fuck, I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not Black Lives Matter, like, all other lives don't matter. It's Black Lives Matter because when you be around black people, you see the way motherfuckers harass you. I don't know if I've seen it more because I'm a white boy and there is stereotypical, not even stereotypical. It's really what happens. Like when you a white boy around a bunch of black people, the cops for whatever reason feel the need to harass you more and more. And I only say this because the reason they're allowed to do that, it used to be, and in some states it still is, probable cause. Because it was basically because there's probable cause because it was like the only reason they could ever be, you know, interacted was because of drugs. There's no other reason. That's basically what the stereotype was that led to that. And that still has that in effect in a lot of places today. That was a whole side mission. Even still, the problem with Kid Rock is he completely turned his back on the black community. It was bad enough when you switch up and start doing country. Like I've said this on here before. Like if I ever try to do country, like first off, because my voice, this shit would be too easy. My biological father had a deal for being a country singer, right? Or like, that's like the total opposite of rap. Like, that's more of an enemy to rap, in my opinion. That's why I can't stand when people do things like country rap. Because country music, in my opinion, is probably the most racist form music genre. Like, and I mean that, like, not like it's blatantly racist, but like, you don't have a David Allan Coe record, which brings me to my next point. In rock music, I mean, you got them few bands like Screwdriver and shit. But if you compare the lyrics, I don't think there's anything like David Allan Coe. I mean, there's a couple things that you really got to go out your way to find, I'm pretty sure. But there's like that David Allan Coe shit was atrocious. And I've never heard nothing like that from rock music. I mean, I know like certain shit from Screwdriver I've heard is close. I've never personally heard any of those songs. Kid Rock decides, I'm gonna do songs with this motherfucker. Right? He didn't help out none of the people who put him on rapping after he got on, right? So what's more culture vulture than literally turning your back on the people who helped you get on with rapping? Telling the label that puts you on, don't worry about them, just sign me. And then you do a fucking song with David Allan Coe. Literally do a song with fucking David Allan Coe. I don't think you get more culture vulture than that. I don't, because that's literally the most, that's why I had to do this video next. Because you can't get, once I realized the extent, because I didn't know the half of it. I thought Devil Without a Cause was the first thing Kid Rock ever put out. And I'm realizing, no, he came out looking like Scotty 2 Hotty with the hair. And he was really rapping at first. That's how he got his first deal and everything. And it was just like the amount disgusted me. That's why I had to do this. Like, there was whoever he signed to at first was like asking about one of the black dudes that he was chilling with and rapping with. And he said, no, I'm just sign me. Just sign me. Don't worry about them. Like, purposely like blackball black people that were helping him get on in the first place. You see what I'm saying? That's what makes Kid Rock a culture vulture. It's like, it's so much deeper with him than I just used black culture and black music to make myself rich and then gradually switched into doing country music. Like, and he's also a good example, like probably one of the most prime examples of someone who I could like some of their music and hate them as a musician and hate them as a person. It's just, there's so much with Kid Rock where he's not a good person, bro. Like, I've always felt that. If he did say something about George Floyd, and this is a side mention too. Okay, the only time where I almost died, and I'm pretty sure I literally started seeing death happen, because I seen myself in third person, like my soul came out the mouth like the Looney Tunes. And I started like seeing the whole shit with the cops, with the knee on my neck, breaking my bed frame. Like I was floating towards the ceiling. And as I got towards the ceiling, it was like my view was like 360. I could see behind me, I could see in front of me, everything at the same time and in third person. And the ceiling just looked like a big white light. Like if I went into that shit, it was just gonna be the Matrix, like when they walk out the simulation. And I started seeing, like, right as I started getting closest to that big ass white light that used to be the ceiling, I started seeing like flashes of clouds. It was like a glitch, bro. And then I woke up and I was on the stretcher. And while I'm floating up, I don't see nothing about me getting put on a stretcher with no EMTs or none of that, right? So there's a whole big part that just I didn't see. It was almost like time slowed down, glitched out. Like when you die in Grand Theft Auto, almost like exactly, but it wasn't in black and white, didn't say wasted. It was just like I was floating up, everything was third person. I could see the whole scene unfolding with the black cop that has knee on my neck and the white cop that followed him up. You know, fuck you, Officer Williams, you a bitch. Tell my mama, you a bitch. You know what I'm saying? That's why the white boy who followed you up, he left the department after that shit. He switched to Denver and he testified for me at trial. So I'm a little partial to the George Floyd shit because the only time, and I've been stabbed, I've been shot. You feel what I'm saying? The only time where I fucking ever started literally like feel like I was seeing death take place where I almost died was from that fucking shit that killed George Floyd. That's why when they always bring up, oh, he had fentanyl in his system, all this other shit. I didn't have fentanyl in my system. And I'm pretty sure I started seeing what the edge of heaven looked like. Because it looked like if I went that light, it was going to open up like the clouds. The flash of the cloud looked like it opened up to like a canopy. That was the only time I literally think I seen death take place. The only time. I wasn't on no fentanyl, nothing. So I'm very partial when people are disrespectful about that or when they're disrespectful about Black Lives Matter as a saying, as an idea. But I would never at the same time, if you notice, I'm very careful with the words I use when I say things about Black Lives Matter as an organization even. Like so many of my friends are in the black community. I'm really in the black community a lot without being black. So I'm very, I don't want to hurt none of the people I love on accident by saying something too fast, too loose. With me right now, for example, right? Say, for example, I get millions of dollars off this rock shit, right? I don't make it with the rap music. I'm still going back to the hood. Still going to New Haven. Still going to Waterbury. Putting studios in the hood. Telling people like Scheme, hey, listen, if you got young boys who nice at rap. First off, I'm putting Scheme on with his own studio. You know what I'm saying? Making it so he could just do the shit out there. And like, I'm still trying to sign rappers at that point. I'm not turning my back on the whole motherfuckers that always had my back. Always had my back in prison. Always was calling everything. All the motherfuckers I love, I'm not turning my back on them. Motherfuckers was there, helped me get here. You see what I'm saying? A lot of motherfuckers, like Scheme, for example. I wouldn't have been so lit in prison if it wasn't for Scheme. On my mama, bro. On my mama. That's why I always say, listen, I ain't seen Scheme in years, but when I make it, bro, I'm literally driving a Lambo to the hood, parking it there in the Villain, New Haven, and I'm giving him the keys on the dead villains, bro. That's exactly what I'm doing. I got always remember where I came from and the people who helped me get there. And for the Kid Rock to be basically in a very similar position to me, right? And as soon as he gets in, he want to turn his back on that. It is so disrespectful to me. That's why this had to be the next video I did. So I'm out this bitch. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully y'all enjoy it. Hopefully we make this into a series. If y'all do, I'll catch y'all later.